Hi, a little bit different format that I'm doing today. I wanted to share with you a couple things I'm doing because I'm doing some work for another restaurant. So I need to taste some wines. And if you're watching my videos and going through the fundamentals of wine training right now, I'm assuming that at some point you want to do some work that's going to include taking care of a wine program, which is definitely going to include a lot of tasting wines to see how it works in the program. So I'll kind of go through that. This is a little bit different because I am doing some work for a place where I'm not employed. So this is a contract thing and not my regular job. But we'll go ahead and taste and I'll just explain through what I'm doing, just kind of my process with it. Everybody's a little bit different. You'll learn what you like, what you don't like as you continue doing this. So a couple things that I always have with me when I'm tasting. Spit cup, water, wine glasses, wine key, and wine. So out of the wines that I'm tasting for this place, these are all for their By the Glass program. And I have two Sauvignon Blancs, a Chardonnay, and then a red blend. So I'm going to start with the Sauvignon Blancs. I have two different wine glasses too, because I'm thinking about what this place has, since I'm tasting these at home and not in the restaurant. And they have different glassware that they use, so they are matching it to what it should be served in. If you're going to be a little bit particular about it. So I have a Bordeaux glass to taste the Sauvignon Blanc in, and universal glasses, because, well, they might use them. And I like to taste that way too. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one. And I also have my laptop out so that I can take notes on everything that I'm tasting, because I do like to do that as I taste, before and after. So I already went into this restaurant. I tasted a lot of their menu and I have written notes on all of their food. I tasted most of their By the Glass wines while I was there, and talked with the team about what sells, what doesn't, trying to get those numbers to see, is it that the wine isn't good, that it doesn't pair with the food, or is it that maybe it's obscure and no one wants to buy it, or no one knows how to sell it, or they just want to sell something else for whatever reason. It's an easier sell, or it's more expensive and they want to get their check average up. There's a lot of different things that could go into that. So I am helping out with a lot of that part of it too, and offering some training and getting everyone a little bit more educated and learning how to sell a little bit better and just give better service overall. That smells like Sauvignon Blanc. So another thing that I do with the wines to prep everything is I love to taste everything at its proper temperature, of course, but not every restaurant does that. So I took a look at what this restaurant has, and they keep their whites really cold. So I had these white wines in my refrigerator, so they're very, very cold right now. And they keep their red wines out on their bar, so that's at room temperature. So I kept this red wine out at room temperature. It's not how I want to drink it, but it's how it's going to be served. So of course, that's how I'm going to be tasting it, because that's how they're selling it. So this is already chilled a little bit more than I would prefer, and it is very aromatic. And almost a little prickly on the nose. But it is a North Coast, California. Let's see, 13.5% alcohol. That's kind of where I'm getting that prickliness from. So I'll go ahead and taste it. That is acidic. So one thing I learned how to do when I first started blind tasting wines, actually, that I also find really helpful when I'm tasting for things like this, for pairings, for just regular wine lists with acid. I really swirl the wine around, spit it, and then immediately put my chin down and open my mouth. And then depending how much you're salivating, that just directly refers to how high or low the acidity is. So if you taste the wine, Spit, head down, mouth open. I feel like spit is just going to start coming out of my mouth. Not like a waterfall, so it's not high acid, but it still has a decent amount, and it really can cut through some fat. And they have some really heavy dishes. I think this one would be really nice. I do like it better than some of the other like lighter whites that they have on their menu. So I'm definitely going to recommend it. It has a little bit more length to it because after I've already spit the wine out and it's still going, I still taste it. I still feel that acid. I think it's a nice wine. And it has that like really vegetal note that Sauvignon Blanc has. So I think it's a good wine. I think it's very typical of its variety. I think it's not like overly ripe for a North Coast California. Now I'm going to taste that next to, what's this one from Oregon? No, this is New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, which I'm really excited to try because I recognize this label, but I don't think I've actually tasted this wine. It's a 2023 from the California and a 2023 for the New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Wildly different nose. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Whoo. That's like dirt. It's like truffle. What? Wow. Totally different. That smells like truffles. What? I still have some leftovers of some of the food that I got from this restaurant, and one of them is a Hen of the Woods mushroom dish. Now I want to try this with it. It's just cold. It's in my fridge right now. That is a wild wine. Whoa. Because it still tastes fruity. Not sweet, but fruity. But the nose is like dirty. And that is not something I normally get from like a Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. Wild. And it's grassy. It has the like typical New Zealand cat pee thing. What? Which I always have a hard time finding that because I don't think it actually smells like cat pee. Because I have a cat. I grew up with cats. I know what it smells like. That's not what it smells like. But that's the note that I'm getting in here. That other people say smells like cat pee. That's what it's in here. I just don't think it smells like that. So if anyone else is confused, they're like, how do you smell that in New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc? I never smell that. You're not alone. I don't think it smells like it either. But it is a note that's in a lot of those wines. It just has different names. Wild. It's like acid feels around the same on it. This one just feels a little bit more rounded, which I'm surprised about considering where they're each from. And it leaves this kind of like prickliness on the tongue that texturally is kind of fun with food. Yeah. They have some dishes that would be really nice with it. They have a walleye dish that I think would be gorgeous with this wine. But I actually do want to taste these side by side because I need to give them a recommendation of what I'd recommend between the two of these for their by the glass. So I already know that I think one of them tastes a lot more like just your go-to Sauvignon Blanc that is like a very much a people pleaser. But if you have people working for you who really know how to talk about things and know how to make recommendations based on what the guest is asking for, some other things can work and we can play around with it a little bit. But I need to taste both. Totally different wines. Insane. Another note, when you are tasting and you smell, try to open up your mouth a little bit and like this. Because, trust me, you'll be able to pick out different aromas a lot more easily. Because everything's connected. Orchard fruit vegetable. Pepper and mushrooms. It's like white peppercorn. It's crazy. It smells more like a Gruner Veltliner right away than it does. Well, it smells like if you made a hybrid of Sauvignon Blanc and Gruner Veltliner. That is wild. It smells like arugula. That's what it is. That's the pepperiness. It smells like arugula. That's so cool. Okay, I need to taste. Easy patio sipper. Anyone who says they want a Sauvignon Blanc, they're gonna like that. It's good. The acid's not hitting me the way that I hoped it would, but let me see. It's still there. Still there. Now, this restaurant does have other wine glasses that they use. So I'm going to taste Sauvignon Blanc in a Bordeaux. And yeah, it's not white wine glasses and red wine glasses. It is variety dependent. So yeah, we actually taste Sauvignon Blanc in these same glasses that we drink, like Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Merlot, Petit Verdot, all in these. Not quite these, but this is just my fancy glass. Burgundy, just if you don't know the difference between like a Burgundy glass and a Bordeaux glass, Burgundy glasses are a lot wider than a Bordeaux. And I actually have one, and we're going to be tasting a Chardonnay, so I will show you that glass later. See, that smells so different in this glass. Oh, no, that was this wine. Never mind, that's why. Still. Still a difference. Now for the New Zealand. And this is why it's important to taste in different glasses and think about how it's going to be served in the place you're doing this work for, because you don't want to taste it at home and be like, this is amazing, and then not have it be presented to guests in the same way, because they're going to have a different experience. That's crazy. I think I'm leaning toward this one just because it has something that's a little bit more out there. I think it fits with the menu a lot better. This one's totally fine. The other one, the California one, totally fine wine. But this place, they're trying to do things a little bit differently. They're trying to be more elevated. They want really knowledgeable staff, and they do have knowledgeable staff who does get excited about selling things. So I think if they have a wine like this that is pretty different, they're actually going to be able to sell it. So that's what I'm going to put in my notes about these wines. And now I'm going to move on and taste the Chardonnay. And this one, it's a Burgundy. It's just a Macon Village. So nothing crazy. The price point, it's like $10 a bottle. And I mean, that's not like it's going to be bad, because I've bought wine from, you know what, I think it was a Macon Village Chardonnay. It was an older vintage. I think that's why I got such a good deal on it, but I bought a couple cases for like $11 a bottle, and it was one of the best wines I've ever had. So don't let price get in the way of you tasting things. And like the reason I'm tasting these right now is because a wine rep dropped off a couple cases of wine for this place. I looked through everything, talked through some things, said, hey, I know this wine, I know this isn't going to work. Hey, I know this one actually would be really good. And then a few that are, hey, you know what, we need to taste through these. And these are a couple wines on your list right now that you have this grape variety. I don't think it really works on your menu, so I do think it would be good to replace. And what I'm doing right now is just rinsing the glass, because these are two wildly different grape varieties that have very different smells and tastes. But yeah, sometimes reps will drop things off. Sometimes they want to taste with you. Other things, especially with like cheaper things, sometimes they'll just drop off bottles to give you, especially if they want to sell something. So they're great to work with. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. Popcorn, salty. Whoa, okay. And it's funny because if you see, I don't know if you can see any reflections right now. My TV is on. My dog is here. She's a blue heeler and she's watching Bluey. And they just walked into a movie theater. So maybe that's partly why I thought they smelled like popcorn. I mean, it does. And it smells kind of dirty and minerally. I think I said salty earlier. It's more mineral than salt, but interesting. I already know I want them to buy this. I pretty much knew that before I even tasted it, because the Chardonnay that they have, I think, is a little too odd for their menu, because they have some really intense flavors, but they have a lot of really classic things, and it is a mix of techniques and cuisines that they use. And I think, yeah, this wine is just so classic. It's well structured. It's very smooth. It's also, compared to the other one, I think it's a lot more likely to just be stable, because the other one they have, it's really cool. It's some biodynamic thing. It's great. I get a little worried with the size of that restaurant and the staff that they have of having that kind of wine without having anyone who really has the knowledge to be able to taste a wine and go, is this off because it's faulty, or does it just taste weird because I'm not used to this wine and I think that it tastes bad, but really it's how the wine is supposed to taste from what the winemaker was trying to do. This would be a lot easier for them to start off with. So I'm also thinking about that. I'm thinking about the staff that they have, what they're capable of, Of course, I'm going to continue working with them, and they want to do trainings, and their management team is already doing trainings and education. But none of them have like super specialized wine knowledge, so it's always going to be something that they have to continue learning. And maybe eventually they'll have a wine team and be able to bring in some really cool things, but for now I have to think about that when I'm thinking about the wines to bring on. That's why I had such a difficult time thinking between those two Sauvignon Blancs, because I'm like, yeah, the one is going to be phenomenal with the food, but it takes a little bit of knowledge to really understand how to sell it. So, yeah. Let me show you that Burgundy glass. This is a Burgundy. This one's a little dusty right now, so I'm actually not going to drink out of it because I already know that I like this wine. I will taste it later in that. I didn't realize how dusty it was. Gorgeous wine. So you can definitely see here the difference between that more rounded Bordeaux and the really wide Burgundy. So this would be like Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Gamay, Aligoté. I have some people disagree on what to serve like Nebbiolo in. Some people want to serve it in Bordeaux because it is big and structured. Other people want to throw it into a Burgundy because it is a thinner skinned grape. Things like that, we'll get into later. But yeah, that's just the difference in the shapes of those glasses. So we have one more wine that I need to taste here. This is the red blend. It's from California. Again, temperature-wise, like it's not quite where I'd want it to be, but I wanted to keep it where they'll have it in this restaurant, and they don't have a wine cellar. They do not have like wine fridges either. So I think eventually they'll be able to, and once I'm able to talk to them a little bit more about budget on some things and help them sell through some product, then they might be more open to the idea of putting in some wine fridges, which I think would be great for them. It just takes a little bit of time to really get, I think, the right clientele into the place to make it worth their while to spend the money on something like that. Even though right now, from what I saw when I was there, they do have, Monty, stop it. They do have clientele coming in who know their wines, but they're just not selling a lot of it. And I think this place is a little bit hidden in its location, so I know they are trying to make themselves a little bit more known. Oh, that is... Whew. I want to drink that chills. Again, I will do a little rinse. You can also rinse with water. You don't have to rinse with wine. A lot of people say it's better to rinse with wine. Yeah. When I'm tasting things that are at like this price point, I don't care as much. And when I'm tasting things that are a lot more expensive, I tend to just get a new glass anyway. And then I'm not wasting wine when it's really pricey. That is fruity and alcoholic. Oh. It's 14.5%. It's from Sonoma. Here's my cat. It's not bad. So, Monty, come here. Come here, kitty. Yeah, good boy. Yeah, there's good boy. So, what I want to do now is I want to look back at my notes on all of their by the glass wines and compare what I just tasted, because I remember their whites pretty well, but the reds, I don't remember quite as much. I feel like they have, I don't know, a Cabernet Franc that's a little bit more fruity that I think might be better than this. This isn't bad. I think it would work with their menu, because there's nothing in the wine that's really offensive to food. It has a decent tannins. They're fairly smooth. I think it would be better chilled a little bit because you'd be able to feel that a bit more. In case you didn't know, pretty much like the colder the wine, the more you'll be able to notice that tannin, and the warmer it is, the less you'll be able to feel that tannin. So with wines like this, where it's like, yeah, that is a pretty important part of the structure overall. Like, it's a pretty big wine. It has a lot of fruit. It's decently high alcohol. I think it's kind of important to feel that tannin, especially because the acidity isn't crazy high. So it just really helps I don't know. I think it just helps showcase the wine as best as you can. Yeah, I'm definitely going to taste this again just for my own enjoyment at a little bit cooler temperature. But yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Taste through the wines after I've already tasted the food and have all of my notes there. I have notes on the menu, the food menu, the beverage menu, and that includes like the cocktail list, their spirits, how things are written. I will go through recommendations on rewording things. So that could be anywhere from writing a little blurb under a wine that they want to sell more and make it something featured, or bolding certain words in, I don't know, in every wine so that you can easily see the grape variety in some places. Or like in the case of this place, I've talked with them about putting like 3-word descriptors on each of these wines to make it a little bit easier for guests to kind of just look through the list and be like, oh yeah, that sounds good. I want a wine that's smooth and fruity with a dry finish. That sounds great. I'll buy it. And then that just helps while we're kind of building into the team and building into the servers to make them a lot more comfortable with selling some of this. And then I also look at price points, and this place in particular, I don't think that their beverage price, no, their cocktail price point matches their food menu. Their wine bottle price point does not. I think it's too cheap. I think they need to widen the range, because a lot of the time when people are looking at a wine list, most people are not going to be interested in anything near the top end of your range, no matter what the range is. So if your most expensive bottle is $150, people are going to go for something that's like $50 or $60 a lot of the time. And if you have bottles that are like, your more expensive stuff is between $800 and like a couple $1,000s, yeah, you tend to see an average of, yeah, people are coming in willing to spend, I don't know, what I've seen is sometimes around the like $100 price point to $250. And sometimes that matches like the food menu too, but this place, their food menu prices match those places that have wines that are a couple $1,000s a bottle. But this place, their most expensive wine is just in their sparkling section, and it's just champagne, and other than that, the most expensive they have is, I think, still under $100. So if we just add in a couple things, I'm going to recommend they buy just a couple bottles. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened in the video. Anyway, this place, I'm going to recommend they order just a couple bottles of some things that are a little bit pricier, but definitely things that are well known enough, not like cult wines, but something that is a region and a variety that people know and that they don't have represented on their list right now, so that it can sell itself when the right people come in. That's going to be my recommendation for them. And then we build into the team, and then we can expand their wine program from there. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I just wanted to share this with you guys since I'm doing the work anyway, and I think you'd really get something out of this, more than me sitting down and telling you about it without you kind of experiencing being a part of it. Because I could sit down and be like, hey, so when you're going to go consult with some places, this is what you should do, blah, blah, blah. It's a little bit confusing. Now you got to see it a little bit, somewhat in practice, and hear a bit of kind of like my thought process. Definitely talk to other people who do this work. And yeah, I hope that you guys really enjoyed this and that you got something out of it. And definitely working on some other videos. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.